the next level of this. So there are folks who, like you, are very well aware, they're putting in time and investments, and they've been maturing this. Now, since last few years, we're starting to hear a lot about zero trust. Obviously, the creator of zero trust has been preaching this for close to 10 years now. He's written books and stuff like that. So how do you throw zero trust in the mix in an actionable fashion? Now, again, my caution always is that we don't want to talk about large roadmap which require millions and millions of dollars of investment, because like you said, it needs to be in business context. It needs to enable acceleration. So it can't be a place where you dump in so much money without any outcome. So what is your advice when you start thinking of zero trust and making it actionable in the realm of IAM?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Saurabh. And you actually put it in a very right way. Zero trust has become such a buzzword, and so important, especially when you said that the creator actually coined this word, I think around 2010, right? So almost more than a decade, zero trust has been around. But I think I've been recently seeing, especially when I went to RSA and other conferences, I think zero trust was a need of the hour, right? Everyone is getting into that. So very, very, very relevant question. And zero trust means different things to different people, unless you really and as you said, you can spend millions of dollars, or you can spend like certain amount of dollars based on your budget, and you can still achieve, if you are very strategic on how to implement, zero trust into your company. So I would actually, just basically, and these are not my words, but I would definitely echo what the founder of Zero Trust, said. And I really like this, I really follow, what he has told, and he uses the word, authentic zero trust, So, authentic zero trust to me, I really like, I actually grabbed onto that word, because to me, authenticity, especially in cybersecurity or in the business, is so important, right? And what is zero trust basically, right? Hey, you never trust, you always verify, right? That's what people have coined zero trust at. But I think when I hear him, basically what zero trust is the elimination of broken trust model in today's digital world, right? That's what we are trying to do. We are eliminating that broken trust model, right? And that's why we are not trusting anyone, right? So identity, for example, has an assertion, right? Identity is tangible, has an entropy, right? Is fungible, right? It changes every time, so it needs validation again and again, right? It is behavioral based, it is policy driven, right? So those are, I think, basic tenets of zero trust, right? If you really see what the zero trust means, yep. Right? These are the tenets of zero trust, right? So I'll teach you, I'll not teach you, but I'll tell you, Saurabh, and to our viewers, what 9 steps you need to know. Just if you know these 9 steps, you are golden in zero trust. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
And these are not my steps. I'm just whatever I learned from the founder. I'm just gonna repeat. Most of the steps. So number 1. So out of these 9 steps, there are 4 design principles and 5 steps. People need to know. Number 1. Again, start with business, right? Align your strategy with the business context. Take a problem, align it with your business. So that's number 1. Number 2, right? You have heard about things called defense in depth, right? If you don't know, so basically what I would say is come up with your systems, right? So basically design system outside and inside, whatever those external and internal features are, right? And instead of design in depth, I would say expense in depth, otherwise it will become expense in depth, right? If you don't know what your systems are, right? So that's number 2. So make sure that you have that. Number 3. Number 3 is your control access, right? Need to know basis. What do you need to know? So get all those control access points, when you are designing this, right? And number 4, inspect all the logs and traffic, right? So inspection, basically, have you heard about, it's very easy to get into layer 3 and layer 4 of network. But when you get to layer 7, that's where you really have to protect, your applications and all of that, because attacker can bypass layer 3 and layer 4. But if you really get to layer 7, if you make it very strong, so inspect those traffic, right? So those are your 4 core design principles, right? Let's repeat again. Business, right? Context, business context. Number 2, design your system inside out. Number 3, get all your control access in place. And number 4, inspect, your traffic, right? So these are your design principles. Now comes the actual operational part of Zero Trust, right? There are 5 parts to that, 5 steps. That's all you need to know, right? Focus on your protect surface. So did you see I made a change here, we have always heard about attack surface. What I'm doing is I'm inverting the triangle from attack surface and I'm making it as a protect surface, right? Correct. So, I'll give you an example, so we all talk about so many things. What could be the attack surface? Instead of, as I said, do not go so far out. Focus on what you really have to protect, right? Number 1. So let's say an example, like our president, right? When our president goes for a meeting or something public, what their secret services are doing, they exactly know what the president's itinerary is. The president is gonna come down from the plane, walk this, sit on this, this couch or a chair, can take and greet these people. So they are so focused. They are just protecting. They are just measuring, making sure that the protect surface is there. They're not worried about everything else because that's their job. And who are they protecting? They're protecting president or their family, right? The immediate family, right? So that's what they're laser focused. So I would say focus on your protect surface. So invert that whole attack surface area, right? And then use this principle. What are those protect surfaces? So number 1, your data, right? What your data should be, right? So I always use that. It's called DAS. I use the acronym called DAS, right? So number 1 is data, right? Number 2, A is your assets, your IPs, your ports, TCP IPs and all that, right? Number 3, your applications, right? What are your applications, right? Your CRM, your ERP systems or whatever that is. Number 4, correct. And number 4 is your services, right? So your DNS, DHCP entity. So protect your, you have your focus on your protect surface based on your DAS model. So you have data, assets, applications, and services. So that's number 1. Number 2, map all your transactional flows, right? So how the system works. You should know how the systems are integrated and works, right? So once you get that whole integration point, you are golden. Otherwise, you'll miss a very important integration point. Number 3, architect your zero trust environment. So how do you architect this? No matter what it is, right? Is it your private cloud, public cloud? Are you on SD-WAN? Are you on-prem? Are you an endpoint? Are you a SaaS-based application? Doesn't matter. Protect, so you architect based on where you are, right? Number 4, create the policies, right? You need to create a policy, right? So have you heard about the Kipling method? Who, when, what, why, where, how, right? Yeah, just ask those questions when you create the policy, right? And number 5, monitor. I love the logs, that should be the code. I always tell my team, hey, I love the logs because they're so important. They give you the information, right? So monitor, measure, and maintain, right? So those are the 5 steps. You focus on your protect surface, right? You map your transactions. Number 3, you architect your zero trust, environment. Number 4, you create your policies. And number 5, you monitor, measure, and maintain, right? So those 4 design principles and this 5, that's basically your zero trust is, that's all it is. You can quickly map, and I'm sure, if you do this to even a business person, they will have a more buy-in into zero trust. And sometimes, because technical folks sometimes tend to get it more complex, So anyways, I hope that was helpful.
Very helpful.